let's see. Defiant, Evolve, The Crew, Multiverses. All these have in common. First, they're games. Second, is they're games that were shut down and you can't get refunded for. And I that's wrong. That is plain just wrong. Reason I'm bringing these up, they're big titles that shut down, which inevitably sparked the Stop Killing Games movement. Got the website up right here. Basically, it's a EU movement where people are signing a petition to try and get a law implemented where companies can no longer shut games down that people have purchased, right? So basically, this petition is attempting to make a law, to force the hand or encourage the hand of lawmakers in the EU. So if you purchase a game that has online capabilities or is solely online, that the developer has to give the consumer the ability to run the game peer-to-peer or have an offline mode so that when the servers shut down, they don't lose the product altogether, right? Makes sense. Sounds fair to me up front. And a lobbying group from the EU had a response. And the Video Games Europe, according to their website, says, since 1988, Video Games Europe has ensured that the voice of a responsible games ecosystem is heard and understood. Its mission is to support and celebrate the sector's creative and economic potential and to ensure that players around the world enjoy the benefits of a great video game playing experiences. Europe's video game sector is worth 25.7 billion pounds, and 53% Europeans are video game players. We publish a yearly key facts report with the latest data on Europe's video game sector. And just to be clear, what is a lobbying group? And I just did a quick search just so I can have, an agreed upon terminology for what a lobbying group is. And we're not going to use the AI answer here. And from Investopedia. Because if you haven't realized, the most honest people are the ones who have their money in the game. So I use Investopedia a lot. The definition from them is a lobby is a group that seeks to influence politicians to make decisions in its favor, usually through legislation. Lobbying can have positive effects, such as through advocacy for environmental and human rights causes. However, it is often seen as a way for special interests to exert undue influence. So that's what we're dealing with here. Okay, so back to the Video Games Europe response to the Stop Killing Games petition. So I'm going to read their response from PCGamer.com, and it reads, private servers are not always a viable alternative option for players, as the protections we put in place to secure our players' data, remove illegal content, and combat unsafe community content would not exist and would leave rights holders liable. Okay. In addition, many titles are designed from the ground up to be online only. In effect, these proposals would curtail developer choices by making these video games prohibitively expensive to create. I'm going to stop right there because they wrote a whole lot of bullshit in a paragraph. And look, guys, I am being unbiased here. If I thought they brought up a good point, I would say so. But they aren't. They're really just yanking your chain. First of all, private servers are not always viable because they don't protect players' data. Private servers are not always viable alternatives, options for players as protections that the game developers put in place remove illegal content and combat unsafe community content that would not exist and would leave right holders liable, or game producers. That's entirely untrue. That there are numerous examples of all these things not existing in large government organizations. I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten from the credit bureaus of the United States saying, hey, we got hacked. Your information's probably out there. Here's a free 30 days of our security program. So, if someone uses your information in the next 30 days to screw your life, you're covered. But after that, hey, pay us $20 a month. No, that's not true. Protecting the consumer's data, these companies have ways around it. I know for a fact they do. There are in outside government organizations. There have been leaks in every sector of the industry now that pretty much all our information is sold for, pennies on the dollar. It's not true. And as far as illegal content, being used for private service, no. I played on a service once called Beyond, BYOND, and Beyond. This is gonna sound bizarre if you don't know anything about it, but the engine was 2D Nintendo to, at best, Super Nintendo graphics, right? And people would create online games with this. The one I played was called Finale. It was a Dragon Ball Z role-playing game. A lot of fun, by the way. This was a decade plus ago. I had a blast, man. I have a lot of memories from this. Fun. But anyways, they had ways where you could pay like a couple dollars a month, probably about $5 a month. And you could inject like your own content in a way where you could take sprites and create sprites and put them in the game. There was a lot of illegal stuff put into that game engine. They were never sued or anything like that. And that's just one personal anecdotal example I'm giving, but there are the legal system knows if you're not supporting a game system anymore and someone is running something local on their computer and they upload something illegal, they know who to go after. It's not like that. This whole paragraph is BS. It really is. And I mean, as far as like a title being designed from the ground up being online only, I actually do agree with the petition that it is the game developer's duty and responsibility, and should be their legal obligation, to create systems and safeguards in case they shut their servers down. So if I'm playing an online only game, why can't I run a local server and run a multiplayer game on my computer, or create my own server and run it from there? Anyways, moving on. The next part of this reads, we welcome the opportunity to discuss our position with policymakers and those who have led European citizens initiatives in the coming months. Oh, that was the last of it. I guess I read the book. It's just a cop-out statement. What this is them saying is like telling the industry, hey, we got your back. Don't worry about it, boys. This Don't Kill Games petition is maybe getting a lot of attention, but we got you, boys. Don't worry. We pay us. We got your back. That's all they're saying, honestly. Now, to get to the brass of it all, the petition itself is a good thing. And if you live in the EU, you should sign it. However, it is not, on its own, it's not going to change anything. All these companies look at is the bottom line. And if they know if they make a live service game, they're going to make money, or maybe make money, they're going to do it. You have to vote with your wallet. So that's a difficult thing to do because I'm really excited for Arc Raiders, which is it's a live service game, but you have to buy the game to play it. So if I buy Arc Raiders 2 for $40, and in like, let's say 3 to 6 months, they decide to shut it down because it's not doing as well as they thought they would, I'm SOL. And I guess even I'm a culprit because I'm excited for it and I want to buy it. And I'm putting some stock in the company to not do that, right? So what's the answer here? How do you go about this? So I'm sure the people who bought Anthem never thought they were going to shut the game down as soon as they did. Or even Multiverses. You bought the freaking DLCs for that. Whoever thought they were going to shut the freaking game down? The answer is honestly simple. Is, hey, stop paying for these live service games. Just don't do it. Unless the company ensures some sort of protection to you as the consumer against them shutting the servers down. That's honestly the simple answer. Now, it's complicated where when it comes to a game you're really excited about, I mean with Arc Raiders, and trying to tell someone like me, hey, just skip it because they don't offer consumer protection. So again, to reiterate, I am absolutely in favor of making laws to hold developers to the fire when it comes to shutting their servers down and giving players some avenue to continue to enjoy the product they purchased. I think most people are in agreement with that. And these companies like, the Video Games Europe lobbying group, they obviously have their opposition to the consumer. It's something, right? It's kind of the times we live in, because let's be real, it is sort of, as of right now, it is the exception for a game to shut down and you not to be compensated, at least immediately. Now, if you buy a live service game and in the next 5 years it shuts down, that's the more likely cases you don't get anything back, which is still criminal. I mean, you should not be able to just take people's money and run with it. In fact, here's another anecdotal experience that I've had. I purchased Death Guard and the Blood Harvest for a couple of dollars. The trailer looked cool. It was a couple of bucks in Steam and I wanted to try it out. However, when I got to trying it out, it was the last day. And they said that server was shutting down today. So I said, hey, I bought it. Let me go ahead and try. Unfortunately, I was in a lobby for 2 hours. No game started. There were just not enough people in there to even play one last game. And effectively, this developer got a couple of my dollars and ran off with it. Yeah, that's upsetting. To this day, I think about it every now and then after, I watch YouTube playthroughs and stuff like that. And I think, this game seems pretty cool. And I never got the chance to play it. It sucks. It even sucks in the sense of looking at this as a form of art. It's gone forever. I don't know any way to play this game. But the code's out there, someone fully intact, hundreds of hours put into it, and you can't do nothing about it. It really is a shame. Video games is one of those art forms that are neglected, right? Any other form of art would be preserved in some way. So, given the nature of video games, I hate to say it, guys, it's probably not going to change. The only way, again, to repeat myself, it's going to change if we stop buying live service games, and we're not going to do that because we're passionate. The gamer audience is a very passionate group of people. And me as an individual, I'm a huge advocate for smaller developers and even indie developers. That's why I go with things like Arc Raiders, because they're a small enough developer with a good enough track record for me to say, hey, I'll back them and I think my money's going somewhere. I don't think they want to shut down their servers and give themselves a bad name. They have an invested interest in their own reputation. While Ubisoft will close games down left and right, they don't care. They are a big enough name where they'll advertise to you enough to just brainwash you into buying their next product and then shut it down the next 6 months if they have to, and then release another game a year from then, which they'll shut 6 months later. So if anything you get out this video, I would say look towards more smaller developers and indie developers. There's a ton of games that get shut down every year on the smaller side that we never hear of. I say go on a limb, do some research, and give them a try. Hope you got something out this video. And if you know of a really cool game, I guess since the video is about live service games being shut down, maybe a really cool live service game, post it down in the comments below. Something that you might really like. Maybe I'll give it a try. Maybe other people who see this video will give it a try, and it'll take off. Who knows, right? Anything can happen. Stranger things have happened. Anyways, take care in later days.